Part of it is already covered in my earlier presentation, that it starts with cracking, divide and conquer, then came the chopping techniques, the stop and chop, which I've already covered, and the final direct chop, the video, some lovely videos you've just seen. So FECO chop, as I mentioned, was described by Nagahara in 1993, and many variations have evolved. So chopping essentially is broadly of two types, as Dr. Harshul mentioned. Horizontal chop, which is the classical one, was the Nagahara chop, but there are many other variations which have come in, and the very common one these days you see the terminal chop. And instruments, essentially the instrument tips move towards each other in the horizontal plane. The plane there, you go to the end of the nucleus, near end of the nucleus, or embed there the second instrument, the chopper, and bring it towards the new FECO tip, and the FECO tip is also moving. So it's one plane that they're moving in. In contrast, vertical chop, which has various variants, is like a FECO quick chop, the FECO snap and split. Herein, essentially what happens is the two instruments tips move towards each other in the vertical plane. That is, the FECO tip has been embedded in the nucleus at about 2/3 junction of upper 2/3 and lower 1/3, and the chopper is going from up down towards. So the tip is moving upwards, and the FECO chopper is going down. So it's in the vertical. The movement is vertical. So that's why it's called vertical chop, and the other one is called horizontal chop. So if you see, this is the horizontal chop here. The FECO tip is embedded here. The traditional FECO chop, the chopper goes here, and you're bringing it here, and this is going forward. So this is the horizontal plane. In contrast, in vertical chop, it's embedded down here, and the chopper is going from up down, and the FECO tip is there's a slight movement. It's not a very exaggerated movement from down up. So it's in the vertical plane. This is the difference. But the basis of all chopping techniques is that they utilize manual instrument forces to divide the nucleus. Ultrasound power is required to sculpt, and which is reduced in these cases because the sculpting is not there. You just need to emulsify. And possibly because of lamellar, it is possible because of lamellar orientation of the lens fibers, which are the natural fracture planes. What are the advantages of FECO chop? Ultrasound energy is reduced compared to the other techniques. There's less stress on zonules because all forces are directed inwards and away from zonules. And this is especially true of the vertical chop. It allows FECO tip to remain in the central 3 millimeters of the pupil, and safer in complicated, difficult cases like small pupil, because you don't have the chopper doesn't need to move anywhere. You can just, the central area is being manipulated. And like Harshul told, very hard cataracts, if you can just debulk the core, and then you can chop from, even mid periphery. It's safer in complicated, it's in small pupil patients, zonular weakness or dehiscence, mature cataracts, hyper mature Morgagnin cataract, like you saw mature and hyper mature. Dr. Jennings showed the videos. And where in Morgagnin, in fact, no other technique will be possible because there's absolutely no support. There's just a nucleus floating around in the liquid cortex, and the only way to deal with it is, just grab it by the FECO energy, by the probe, and then chop it. So no other technique, in fact, like the divide, conquer, stop and chop, may not be possible when it's a true Morgagnin with the liquid cortex. And suboptimal rhexis is there, or hydrodissection. Then it is important to just hold it and crack it and not just move it, or because otherwise there'll be shearing forces on the zonules. So coming to the horizontal chop in a little detail, central debulking of the epinucleus is done. Blunt chopper is advanced under the capsule to the distal equator of the nucleus. Then the FECO tip is embedded proximal to the center of the nucleus. And the chopper is advanced towards the FECO tip, and the chop is initiated. As the two tips come closer, a lateral movement, sideways movement is initiated, and the two halves are separated once the tips are coming closer. And the nucleus is then rotated, and each half is then further chopped into smaller pieces, as usual. And in the vertical chop, the central debulking of the epinucleus, which is there for every technique, you just remove the central epinucleus. FECO tip is then embedded at the center or distal to the center of the nucleus. And the sharp chopper is buried downwards into the nucleus like a spike, and just anterior to the FECO tip. Chop is advanced towards the FECO tip. Chopper is advanced towards the FECO tip, and the chop is initiated. As the two tips come closer, a lateral movement is now initiated, and the two halves are separated. The nucleus is rotated, and each half is taken care of as usual. So if you want to convert to FECO chop is technically more demanding. And then, as I mentioned earlier in my talk also, should graduate from divide and conquer and or stop and chop. And you should get familiar with chopping, get familiar with the choppers and chopping techniques, chop quadrants during divide and conquer. When you're doing a divide and conquer, the 4 quadrants that are left, try and chop those further. Chop this when stop and chop the second half of the nucleus during the stop and chop, and start with horizontal chop, which is a little easier, I feel, followed by vertical chop, because a vertical chop implies a very good hold of the machine, because when you're pushing it down, there's a tendency for the nucleus to disengage. So horizontal versus vertical chop, they're different principles, but offer the same advantages. Ultrasound energy is reduced, there's less stress on zonules, and allows the phaco tip to remain in the central 3 millimeters of pupil, and so that you know you're safe. And the degree of difficulty in terms of these, they both have a steeper learning curve than stop and chop or divide and conquer. But learning one will help in learning the other. If you learn horizontal, you can easily graduate onto vertical. Both have some risks, especially while learning. In horizontal chop, the risk of chopper damaging the anterior capsule or zonules is there if you go too anteriorly in the beginning, but with experience you learn not to do that. In vertical chop, there's a risk of posterior capsule rupture by excessive downward movement of the chopper. And then I've seen that when people begin, they take choppers with very long tips. Maybe just go for a 1.25 rather than a 1.5 or 1.75 to begin with, and they work equally well. Indications for horizontal chopping are soft and smaller nuclei, because if you're going horizontally, so you are actually splitting the nucleus, so it's easier to handle softer nucleus with horizontal chopping. Extremely deep anterior chambers like high myopes and post vitrectomy eyes, where you don't want too much movement, so horizontal chopping gives you a little more control over the nucleus, over the vertical movement of the nucleus. And small pupils where vertical chop will also work equally well. We could use that. In vertical chopping, difficulty visualizing capsular axis edges, if it is there, then, and in corneal haze or anterior cortical spokes, brunescent nuclei and leathery nuclei, vertical chop works better because more force can be applied. And when there's little or no epinucleus, and like Morgagnin cataracts, and of course small pupils. So videos have already been shared, some lovely videos by both Dr. Janin and Dr. Herschel. In conclusion, phaco chop reduces ultrasound energy used. It reduces the stress on the zonules. It is safer for the eye in complicated and higher risk cases. Has a steeper learning curve though, but one can transition to phaco chop by understanding the principles and the common pitfalls and mastering the steps in a graduated manner. Horizontal and vertical chopping are complementary variations, offering different advantages but common benefits.